Years ago today, I left a 5 bedroom, 3 full bath, 3 car garage, beautiful fenced in backyard home to move into my mom's basement at 35 years old because I asked for a divorce. I divorced the nice guy, knowing I was not in love and not fulfilled in that marriage, and that we truly just were not compatible. I had no money because I had been running a successful business, but this all happened during COVID, and my business was an in-person business, so it was greatly affected by that. That on top of emotional and mental abuse I was dealing with and transition of leaving my home, I could barely function to work because I was in such a dark place. I lost family, I lost friends, I had people make up blatant lies about me. Instead of just coming to me and talking to me, they assumed the worst in everything. I didn't know where I was gonna go, and I lived with my mom for an entire summer until I found this crappy little townhome that I took because I could afford it. It was old, the basement flooded, but I made it my own. It was in a really bad neighborhood, and I constantly also had to deal with cops showing up at my neighbor's door. But again, I could afford it, and at that time, that's all that mattered. I was now not only a single mom, I had to figure everything out on my own. I had to get assistance with rent. I had to get help with food. I was in the lowest of lows. I went from being a 6-figure successful business owner to barely surviving. Fast forward 3 years to today, and I am in this beautiful loft. I run 3 successful businesses, and I am genuinely in love with who I am. The decision to divorce is not always easy. It is very scary. But what I do know is it's scarier staying with somebody you know you are genuinely not in love with, because it's hurting them just as much as it's hurting you. I promise you, you will make it. And the minute you'll know you've made it is when you can authentically be yourself with 0 questions. 3 years ago today, I left.
Okay. Um, how do you end up marrying somebody that you don't love, that you're not in love with? Like, I just want to understand this. Like, guys, when I say women are full of shit, I really mean it, guys. You know what I mean? Because they will put you in a situation where, you can lose everything as well. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if somebody doesn't love you or somebody knows very well that, I'm not into this person, why still marry that person? Why do you get the kids involved? You understand what I'm saying? Because right now she's saying that person was not for him, right? For her, I'm sorry. That person was not for her, the ex-husband, and apparently they have kids, bro. So the kids are involved because you decided one day that this person is not for me. Because I mean, you didn't know that this person was not for you. When you guys were still dating, there was no children involved. There was, it was just dating, and you know how easy it is just to break up with somebody, like, because it's only emotions that are attached. It's not, there's no kids, there's no responsibilities, you know what I mean? So how does this, like I don't understand, guys. I'm really, how does this work? Like, how do you decide that, I'm gonna marry this person that I don't love? How do you decide? How do you make that decision? I just want to know, guys. I really want to know. On the real though, like, I really want to understand how you do it. And here's the other thing, right? Now she's divorced and she lost everything, right? And she wants us to say she lost everything and then she bounced back, right? She wants us to say, you a strong woman, you did a great job, you know what I mean? Men get divorced all the time and they lose everything, and then they pick themselves up, they bounce back, they get the money up again. Nobody claps for them. Nobody applauds them. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody's out there saying, great job, you a strong man. No. But as soon as a woman divorces their husband, they say you are the victim of, the marriage. You're the victim of the marriage. Even if like it's the woman who left and say I'm not in love, because she is to blame, bro. She's to blame. Let's be honest. This woman is to blame, and I'll tell you why I'm saying this woman is to blame. Because she's the one who agreed to marry this man. This man said, "Will you please marry me?" She said, "Yes." "Let's have kids." She said, "Yes." She carried the kids for 9 months, knowing very well that I don't love this man. Now today she's divorced. She wants people to come here and say, you survived the worst. No, man, like that's being an adult. COVID affected a lot of people with businesses. It affected a lot of men and women. You understand what I'm saying? Like we like I mean, why should we take her story and make it like, you know, an inspiring story? You know what I mean? Why should we make her story an inspiring story? Because for me, I don't believe her story is inspiring. Like I don't really give a damn, bruh. You know what I mean? Because this is this is crazy, guys. This is crazy, bro. Women don't mind breaking up their families and destroying their kids' lives because of how they feel. Because of how they feel, bro. Because they feel like, they're no longer in love with their husbands. Or they never been in love with their husbands. So I don't know what happened. So tell us, ma'am, what happened? Because you haven't told us that, I was in love with this man and the love fade away, right? Oh, I never loved this man. I just thought, marriage was the best thing for me. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Like, let's be serious, guys. Sometimes we just need to be a little bit more serious and be adults and prioritize maturity. You know what I mean? Which is very important, like to prioritize maturity, because when you're mature, you're gonna think like you're gonna think about the kids. You're gonna say, when I'm removing these kids from their father, how does that make them feel? How does that affect them? Instead of saying, like, how do I get affected, being with this man? How does my happiness and my peace get affected being with this man? This is the questions that you should be asking yourself. Yeah, you shouldn't be asking yourself. You should be asking yourself, how are my kids going to be affected? What are the outcomes? Now, these kids, when they grow up, especially women, you know what I mean? Especially your daughters, when they grow up, uh, they become adults, and they try to date, and they don't even understand what's going on. You're creating a cycle of divorce, bruh. And you know this, bro. When people grow up in like a family where there was a divorce, they end up getting divorced too. I don't know why you women like. Why do you romanticize divorce so much? Why are you all over TikTok talking about divorce like it's a nice thing to do? Like it's empowering to divorce somebody? Like it's liberating? I don't understand, bro. But anyway, that's it for today. My name is RJ Godfella, and this is the RJ Godfella Chats. Now, if you like this type of content, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button as well. Peace.